Hey guys! Okay, so I've made a video about charting before, um, but I'm going to make this second one to go even more in depth. So I think the first one I made, I talked a lot about placing customers and stuff, but we're going to talk about specifically team building in this one. Okay, so your first two team members that you sign need to go on your top line, of course. There's nowhere else for them to go. And that will be charting you for executive. So that part's easy. First two team members you sign, top line, you're charted executive after that. You'll be executive once both of them are at 400 GV. Okay, we're gonna go from your third team member on. Okay, so when you sign your third team member, whether or not you're officially executive or you're still trying to get the volume, either way, you have a decision to make. Do you top line that third person, or do you put them under one of those two people that you already have? Now, this is where it's really important to understand charting, okay? We're going to go over several different charts. I've got a ruby chart I'm going to go over with you guys. I've got an emerald chart that I'm going to go over with you guys. And then I've got a diamond chart that I'm going to go over with you guys. Okay. So, that third person, depending on if you feel like this person is going to be a self-starter, if they are very motivated, and you feel like they're going to take the business very seriously or not, that is going to be what determines if you decide to top line them or you decide to go ahead and just place them. Now, if you feel like they're very, very motivated and like they're going to be a self-starter and they're going to be awesome, then yes, I would go ahead and recommend putting them on your top line, unless one of those two people that you already have under you to be charted executive, or you already are executive, unless one of those two people is your spouse. If one of those two people is your spouse, then you kind of have a 50-50 choice you can make. You can put one of them on your spouse's top line, or you can put them on your top line. And we'll get into this more later, as to why you would have that, instant, what am I trying to say? That instant inner debate going on about where to put them, because you want everyone, basically, I'm going to get this out in the beginning before I go any further. You want everyone on your top line and everyone on your spouse's top line to be very self-sufficient, self-motivated people. So the people that come into your business that are on fire and that are going to be very, very self-motivated, if your top line and your spouse's top line are not already full, that is where you want them. Now, if it's later in the business and you already have your 5 on your top line, which is all you need for diamond and above, and your spouse already has his 5, which is all he ever needs for diamond and above, or he or she, then yes, you obviously would have to put them somewhere else. But even in that case, I would put them somewhere under the next one of the most important people under you's top line, so that way, again, we'll get into this later. But yeah, just to clarify that, you want your top line and your spouse's top line to be very, very, very motivated, just very highly motivated, teachable. What am I trying to say? Just self-starters, basically. Okay. So whenever someone signs with you that you're just really not sure how they're going to be, they haven't really from the beginning given you a lot of indication that they have huge goals. Maybe they just want to make a couple extra $100 a month, but you're not really sure if they want anything more out of the business than that. These are the people that it's very important that you strategically place, okay? Because you don't want someone on your top line that you don't think is serious. Or if you have someone join you that you don't really think is serious at all. Like, I mean, they're joining you, but they may be okay with $50 a month and that's it. Like, you just don't really know how they're going to be. You definitely don't want someone like that on your top line. Doesn't mean they don't have a place in your business, because everyone has a place in our business, but not top line. The best way I can explain to you guys is if you were the CEO of a huge corporation like Walmart or Target, everyone that comes in interviews for a position in your actual corporate office, you're going to think very long and hard about what you do with those people. You're not just going to be like, okay, giving you this job. Like, that's a big decision. Anyone that's coming in and is in the corporate, the corporate branch of your organization, So think of it like the people that are working storefront versus the people that are working in corporate. The people that are in corporate have definitely, a way larger responsibility. And so the people you're selecting to be on your top line, you need to feel pretty good about them. You need to feel like, okay, you know what? I think these people are going to like match my energy, match my effort, and they have vision for their life, just like I have vision for my life. And I think they're going to run with me and they're going to run all the way to the top with me. That's the people that you want on your top line, because you want to be able to count on those people 100%. Okay. So, as far as making the decision to place people, let's start really small here. So you have a Ruby chart. Can all of you guys see this? Okay, so let's say you already have 2 people because you're charted executive, remember, and now you have that third person and you're trying to decide what to do with them. If they're very strong, you think they're going to be a self-starter, then yes, we're going to top line that person. Now you have 3. Now the next person that comes in your business, I don't care who they are, they're going to go under one of these people. Let's say they're another strong person. Okay, then great. If one of these people is your spouse, they go under them. We're going to start putting that strong people on your spouse's top line. But before you get a top line of 4 or 5, you need to be charted Ruby. So once you have 3 on your top line, no matter what, we start charting for Ruby. So we pick one of those 3 people and we place under them. Again, if it's your spouse, definitely. However, if you are not an LC signing machine, okay, and you have someone on your top line who is an LC signing machine, and you sign a person and you're trying to decide where to place them, ask that person if they'll go ahead and sign their spouse, and you will and match you, and you're going to put someone on their top line, and then that charts you Ruby. Bam. Because yes, it's you definitely want to build 2 paychecks, so you want to build yourself and your spouse. However, don't shoot yourself in the foot. If you're trying to promote to Ruby and you're not bringing in a lot of volume and you're not bringing in a lot of customers, but you have someone on your top line who is, and you sign that 4th person that you're ready to place on your chart, don't pick your spouse when you could pick that person that's bringing in a lot of volume. Because if you place under that person that's bringing in a lot of volume, they can help you fill it. And then if they're also willing to sign their spouse, then great. You are a fully charted Ruby. And now you two can tag team and you can fill that volume together with their spouse and the person you just placed under them. And you're going to promote to Ruby a lot faster than if you chose your spouse. Whenever I went Ruby, I did build Zach over the other 2. The other 2 on my top line were not working. They weren't working at all. Well, one of them was briefly, and then she stopped. But the other person wasn't working at all. Basically never got started. I had built her to 400, so she was a 400 box for me to promote, but then she never did anything after that. So obviously I wasn't going to place under either of them. I placed under Zach. That was in September. Yes, that was in September, and then I placed the next person under Zach in October, and that was when I went Ruby. But October, I also signed 23 loyal customers. So me placing under Zach was a no-brainer for me because my other 2 top line people weren't working. They weren't going to be able to help me at all anyways. I was bringing in plenty of volume to fill those people under Zach. So I had those 2 under Zach. Whenever both of them went to 400, I went Ruby, and then I had obviously continued building my business further after that. But my point is that decision that you make it's a very big decision in your business. It's a monumental decision. Rubies build diamonds, okay? So you want to go Ruby as fast as you can. So don't shoot yourself in the foot by placing someone in a not smart spot on your Ruby chart. And if you sign someone and it's on your Ruby chart, which for all of you it'd be on your Ruby chart, and you're not sure, come to me. Send me a picture of your chart. You have 24 hours to move people. Send me a picture of your chart and tell me about the person you just signed, their personality, all that. We'll look at who's already on your chart, and I'll give you my honest opinion. Obviously, it's always your choice. You don't have to go with my opinion, but I can promise you I'll always give you my 100% transparent and honest opinion of what is in you guys' best interest as far as placing, because I've made mistakes placing before, and I definitely have had to learn my lesson the hard way before. And I can tell you ever since then, I don't make those mistakes anymore. I'm very calculated with where I'm placing. And anyone that comes to me for advice on where to place, I give them my 100% honest opinion, because there's nothing more frustrating than building an empire and having a part of it crumble because of one bad choice that you could have avoided. So my advice, again, just recapping, is you have 3 on your top line and you sign a 4th. You think long and hard on where to place that person. If you can do the volume on if you can do the volume yourself, then put them under your spouse. If you don't think you can handle the volume all by yourself in a timely manner, then I would choose the strongest person on your top line. Now, if neither of the other 2 people on your top line are strong, and then it's your spouse, and you're an okay LC signer, well then, yeah, go with yourself. Trust yourself more than the people that aren't working. But what I'm saying is if you have someone on your top line that is really, really strong, and you're not that strong of an LC signer, I would always I would build them as the executive leg first, okay? And then there will always be an opportunity to build your spouse later, and hopefully by then you are getting in more LCs. You're kind of like getting in the groove and stuff. Now, let's say, because I told you guys I'd give y'all several scenarios. So that was the scenario that you already had 2 on your top line. So you already charted executive, and you had put the 3rd person on your top line, and then now we were talking about the 4th and the 5th. So now let's say you're charted executive, you have 2 on your top line, and you sign somebody, and you just don't think they're very strong. You're like, I'm just really not sure. I just don't have a good feeling that they need to be on my top line. Cool. Pick one of those 2 people that's on your executive chart. It can be your spouse if he's one of them or she, or it can be the other person. Again, go with your gut. Go with who you think it makes the most sense, because basically where you're placing right now, you are starting the executive leg of your Ruby chart. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have Mary and your spouse, and this is blank. You don't have that yet. And then you sign Wanda. And Wanda, you just don't think she's going to be like a runner. You think she's going to do okay, but she's probably not motivated enough to really like work the way you're working. Then I would pick your spouse or Mary to put Wanda under. If Mary is an LC signing rock star, then definitely Mary would be a good choice. However, if you and Mary are both equally signing the same amount of LCs, then pick your spouse, always. But if you think Mary could fill Wanda up a lot faster than you could, then I would pick Mary, honestly, because again, as soon as you sign that 5th person, you put her under Mary as well, and you guys get that person a 400. If she already got Wanda, then you're Ruby. Bam. So, well, I guess we hadn't got a person on your top line. Anyways, you know what I'm saying, though. When you get that person on your top line, you're going to have to worry about them getting a 400 too. So again, you always want to humble yourself when you're charting and really like look at your ability and look at the ability of the people on your team and really make that decision, based on that. Okay. I think we've hit Ruby pretty efficiently. I don't want to just keep rambling and make this way too long of a video for you guys. Okay. Let's go to Emerald. This is where it starts getting a little more tricky. I feel like Ruby, all of you are very capable of going with your instinct on this. And again, if it's just like overwhelming you, just send me a picture of your chart. And honestly, you probably, if you're just going Ruby, you probably don't need to send me a picture of your chart. I probably have that memorized by now. When you start going above Ruby, it's all becomes a blur for me. But with Ruby specifically, I probably already know who's on your team right now. So if you sign someone and you're like, okay, help, what's the best thing? We can have literally a 10-minute conversation or less about them. You can tell me a little bit about that person, about the people's work ethic that are currently on your team, and we can discuss your LC signing, and then we can make an educated decision. And again, it'll always be your final choice, but I'm always there to help you with that. So don't feel overwhelmed, because especially those first few people you sign when you're placing on your Ruby chart, it's exciting, but it's overwhelming. You want to make sure you're making the right decision. So I'm always here for you guys for that. Okay, for those of you who are Ruby, or who are really close to Ruby, and you're thinking ahead to Emerald. And let's say, guys, that you already chart Ruby, but the volume's not there yet. You don't have every box at 400, but you do have everyone in these boxes. Like, you've got a name written in every single box. And then you still sign somebody before you're officially Ruby. Well, again, this is Emerald. So I would encourage all of you to print out the Ruby chart, the Emerald chart, and the Diamond chart. These can be found in eSuite under Documents. And I would go and actually print, if you're not executive yet, print off the executive one too. But I would print all these charts off, and I would write in pencil, and I would start writing people's names that are on your team now, and write people who you think are going to sign with like a question mark or a star by them. And you can go ahead and fill in where you think they would go. I did that literally long before I was diamond. I had this diamond chart filled out and I had everyone that I knew was going to sign with me in there. And sometimes someone who wasn't on my radar and who I didn't even know was going to sign with me would sign before one of those people on my chart. And that's fine. I would just erase them and I'd switch them around. But you want to have a game plan in your head, especially as you're growing. Okay, but emerald. An emerald is made up of 2 diamonds. I mean, wow. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. An emerald is made up of 2 rubies. So, remember, you were already ruby. So, you already had an executive. So, it's pretty common. It's pretty common for that executive to be one of your ruby legs when you're emerald, okay? So, that person that already had 2, here they are. Now we need to get them to ruby. They need 3 more. And then remember, you already had 2 400 boxes on your top line when you were ruby. So those can still be over there. And then you need a brand new ruby. Now, if one of those 400 boxes, since you went ruby or since you charted ruby, has signed a distributor, signed their husband, whatever, maybe they're in the place to be your other ruby. And then you just need another 400 box. But as you sign people, I'm trying to hold this so you guys can see it, you will want to be looking very strategically at this chart to decide where they're going to go. All these top liners need to be self-sufficient. We already talked about that. If one of these rubies is your spouse, their top line needs to be very, very self-sufficient. So one of these rubies is not your spouse. One of these rubies is either your executive leg that was on your ruby chart, or if the executive leg was your spouse, you're building a whole new ruby. So you want to identify out of these top 4 people, whichever one's not your spouse, you want to identify which of them is capable of being your next ruby leader. Which of them is showing the most just assertiveness, showing the most, showing the hardest work ethic. Like, you want to really pay attention to these other 3 and see who needs to be your other ruby, because as you start signing people, you're going to have to build these 2 rubies simultaneously. And so this is where I really try to dig deep and like really analyze carefully where I'm placing people. So I always try to place people who I feel like will be a good fit together, because ultimately, guys, as we grow in this business, by the time you're a diamond, you cannot efficiently personally interact and lead all. How many people are on a diamond chart? I know we've got 38 in our organization, but we have overflow. They're not all on the diamond chart. So let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, so only 24 on a diamond chart. But like, when I went diamond, I had 38 on my team, not 24. The reason why is there was people being signed on other places that weren't necessarily on the chart. So like, whether you have 24, whether you have 38, effectively leading and interacting with 24 to 38 people every single day is not very realistic, especially if you're still trying to grow your business and you're still signing LCs and managing every other aspect of your life. So this is where the power of layered leadership really comes into play. You want those people, remember we talked about from the beginning, you want the people on your top line and on your spouse's top line to be very self-sufficient. The reason why is because you want to be able to place into those people with confidence. You want to be able to place into those people with confidence, knowing that yes, you're still going to be a leader to that person that you place into them because you personally enrolled them, and they're always going to have that attachment to you as their enroller. But you also want the person you place under them to be able to step in and help lead. I'm going to give a shout out real quick, because I know she won't mind, but Michelle she's under Zach. She's on Zach's top line. And I know anyone that I put under Michelle, Michelle's going to be an awesome leader to them. So yes, they're still going to come to me and they're still going to need me for stuff, but I also know that in my absence, Michelle's going to lead them 100%, and she's going to do an amazing job. I'm not going to have to worry. If I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, Michelle's team would not fall apart. Michelle's going to lead that team with excellence and very, very well. And so I'm using her as an example because it's important to be able to trust your top line and your spouse's top line. You want to know that they will lead their team with pride. You want that you want to know that they will lead their team well, and that they're going to work, just as hard as you, or at the very least that they're going to work hard. They're going to take those people that you're placing under them seriously. So I would never place under somebody that's not working ever. I don't care where they're at on my chart. If they are not working, I'm not going to place under them. Now, trying to think how to. If you have someone, okay, along those lines, let's say you've got your spouse, you've got Mary, Susie, and Brenda, and Brenda got started late. So Mary's team has already started building. We've got Wanda under her. Remember we talked about that. She has her spouse, and she even signed a third person, or maybe Wanda signed her spouse. So this Ruby chart's kind of filled in. It's not complete, but it's filled in. Well, then let's say Brenda joins our business, and Brenda is a total rock star. And we know Brenda's going to the top with us. The first thing we need to do is finish charting Emerald before we do anything further. So, yes, Brenda's a rock star. However, Wanda's very close to going Ruby. She's very close. So we're going to finish the next two people we sign. We're going to put them on her Ruby chart, and we're going to get that done. Because ultimately, the way we can help our team, continue to help our team the most, is by promoting. Because when you promote, guys, there's people on the chart that promote with you. That gets a lot of attention from their friends. Whenever you're announcing those promotions, you're going to get a lot of attention when your leader announces your promotion. And so you promoting and your team promoting is going to do a lot of good for everyone in your entire organization's business. When we went Diamond, guys, the messages I got were literally out the door. Like, I couldn't even stop and respond to all the messages. That was something that got a lot of people's attention. Same thing when they saw we got a bonus, okay? So if I would have just looked around and I've been like, oh, this person is almost my Ruby, but this person over here is doing so great, I really want them to, you don't want to change your mind mid promotion, you know what I mean? If you are really close to promotion, you need to go with what's already on your chart and promote. After you promote, you can take some time and you can rebuild if you want. And what I mean by that is if you want to build another Ruby on your top line, you want 3 rubies, you can do that after you promote if you want. But promote to what you're close to promoting with first. I hope that makes sense to you guys. After Ruby, and I wouldn't even recommend really doing that after Emerald. I'd recommend doing it after Diamond, maybe. I don't know. When you go Diamond, you still have a Ruby. So when you were Emerald, you had 2 rubies on your top line. One of those rubies goes Emerald. You add a 5th person to your top line, and now you are Diamond. Easy peasy. One of those rubies stays a Ruby, guys. It's not that hard to go Diamond. It's really, really not. So you have an Emerald, and that Emerald has 2 rubies. So one of your rubies needs to grow from Ruby to Emerald. That's kind of a big jump because that Ruby needs to help 2 people go Ruby. But that other Ruby stays a Ruby. Your 2 400 boxes are still 400 boxes. And then you sign a 5th person for your top line. So this is kind of where, that strategy comes in play again. Because obviously this Ruby still stays a Ruby. You have to choose which Ruby's going to go Emerald. And again, that kind of goes back to, I guess, just knowing yourself and knowing your organization. For me, my Emerald was Zach, but that was a no-brainer. Zach and I bring in a lot of volume. Zach has a strong team already, and so it was a no-brainer that Zach was going to go Emerald, However, if your 2 Ruby legs for you to go Emerald are your spouse and your best friend, and your best friend has a really, really strong team. She's just an LC signing machine. It's a tough decision, but you may have to pick her to be your Emerald leg. The reason why is going Diamond gets you a $10,000 bonus right now, guys. So you don't want to let pride hold you back from that. You don't want to be like, oh, I want to build my husband instead. It's great to build your husband, but know that you can do the volume. Now, if the people that you're putting on his chart for him to go from Ruby to Emerald are all really strong people and you think they're going to get their own LCs, that's fine. Definitely that's fine. But if you're not sure and it's just a 50-50 chance, and that other Ruby is really strong, I would go with that other Ruby. It's a hard decision to make, but again, you want to promote the fastest because after you promote, you can start rebuilding some of the legs. So kind of that goes back to what we were saying. You had Brenda over here who was really strong and was always just a 400 box. Well, now Brenda could be Ruby. If she was that strong, she probably has gone Ruby on her own, which is awesome. Which means when you're going double Diamond, you can use her if you want. And same thing with like your spouse. I don't have a double diamond chart printed off except my own, and I don't want to put my own on YouTube to protect the integrity of my business, because that is obviously, I want to keep that private for the people that want it private. But basically, the jump from double diamond is the emerald goes diamond and the ruby goes emerald. So again, it's not that hard. I mean, if you're working hard and you made smart decisions all along, it's very doable. Very, very doable. So again, like if like Brenda has already gone ruby, and now you have 2 rubies on your top line plus your emerald, the emerald needs to go diamond for you to go double. But then one of those rubies goes emerald for you to go double. It doesn't have to be the one that helped you go diamond. It can be the other one. It can be Brenda now. So that's what I was saying back in the beginning when I was saying, you're making that decision, and you already had Mary, who was partially ruby, close to ruby, and Brenda signed on, and you knew Brenda was stronger than Mary, but Mary was already almost charted ruby, and I said to go with Mary, and I said there will be an opportunity to work with Brenda more closely in the future. This is your opportunity after diamond when you're going double, because now she's caught up to Mary because she is so strong and is such a self-starter. And now when you need that ruby to go emerald for you to go double, now you can use Mary. You can build Mary instead of building, you can build Brenda instead of building Mary, because Brenda was the stronger person and she's caught up. And so it's great. And so, yeah, that's, those kind of things will always work themselves out in the end. And if you have someone like that has joined your business and is on your top line, but you're already in the middle of building the emerald and it's too late to turn around and build a new ruby, I would tell Brenda, I would say, Brenda, you're amazing and you're going to the top with me. I want you to go to the top with me. If you can catch up and you can be ruby by the time I'm building to double diamond, then I will use you. I will use you to be the emerald, and we will do this together. Light that fire under Brenda and let her know that, like, you want her to go to the top with you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you are building a business, and so you have to make good business decisions. You have to do what makes the most sense for you to promote. And if you make a decision that doesn't make sense for you to promote just because you're just kind of, you're feeling bad for someone or whatever, you will have to pay for it later. So I really just encourage everybody to just work really hard and use your gut instinct. You know what I mean? Your gut is going to be right. So trust your gut. If you're thinking, I feel bad for this person, I want to place under them, but in your gut you're thinking, I don't think that's the right decision for me to promote, then don't do it. Also, if you have overflow people, I wanted to say this too, because as you grow, this will happen. If you have overflow people, say you already charted diamond, but you're not diamond yet, and you have other people that sign, well, you definitely want to look at your double chart, and you would put people in correlation to where they need to go in your double. But you can also stack people. If, for example, whenever I went diamond, I signed someone right after I was fully charted diamond. I signed someone like the next day. And I put that person right under this box. It was under my ruby. The executive leg of my ruby, I put them under here. So they weren't on the diamond chart, they're below. But I did that because I knew that person probably wasn't going to get to 400 as fast as I needed them to get to 400. And I knew these 2 people together would get along. It made sense to put this person under this person. And then now this person's activity that I put under her LC signing contributed to her GV, and so that was a 400 box a lot faster. So I hope that makes sense. So basically, you can definitely do that too. Stacking definitely comes in handy in certain scenarios. I wouldn't do it with any strong person, but I would do it. I would do it in those kind of situations. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head if any of you have had this happen yet. I feel like 1 or 2 of you have. If any of you have someone on your top line who joined you in the beginning and they have since quit, they're still in your top line, they have an open account, they have volume, you put customers under them, but they have quit. Look for a strong person to come along to replace them. Now, ultimately, you want to have your entire top line filled first, but like, for example, I have 5 on my top line, obviously for diamond. I initially had 2 people who would quit, and I've replaced one of them. But the other person I still haven't replaced yet. And so that's something that I am keeping my eyes open for. I'm waiting for someone to come along that I can put, there and replace that person. So, but it's not a big deal. In the meantime, I can keep that person at 400. It's fine. But it's something that I'm I'm keeping my eyes and ears open for. So definitely, if any of you have someone that's on your top line that maybe they signed and that was part of your executive chart, and now you're going for an emerald promotion and that person is not working, they're on your chart but they're not working, and you're worried they're going to fall below 400 by the time you promote, keep an eye out for someone that's really strong. And what you can do is you can put that person that's really strong under that top line person. I know that sounds funny because I said I would never place under someone that's not working. This isn't like an issue of giving them a free distributor, and they're not working and they're not doing anything to deserve it. It's not like that. You're putting this person under them because you put customers under that person to get that person at 400 for you to promote. Now you're going to put this distributor who you do think is going to be a really hard worker, and now that volume's all going to be combined. What's going to happen is when that one person hits their 1-year renewal, if they don't renew, they're going to drop off. And the person that you put under them is now going to move up on your top line. And so now that person's your top line anyways. Does that make sense? So I know it seems kind of weird, but that's definitely a good thing to do whenever the opportunity presents itself. I don't think that applies to most of you. I think most of you have all working people on your teams, but I think 1 or 2 of you do have someone like that. So if that's you, basically that's it. I don't want this to be too long, because if someone needs to replay a couple parts to make sure they understand, I want them to be able to do it and not be so long and have to listen to me rambling over and over. But basically, just a couple of recaps. You want to place strong people on your top line, strong people on your spouse's top line. You always want to place to promote first and foremost. Before you build anyone else's team, you place to promote. So whether that's Ruby or Emerald or Diamond, you place to promote. So if you are an executive right now, you need to have this Ruby chart printed off. If you don't have it printed off now. You need to write on it in pencil the 2 people that are on your executive chart, and then you need to be thinking in your mind some people that can make up those 3. And then as those 3 people sign, already know where they're going to go. Like, already have in your mind, okay, if this person signs on Friday when they get paid, they are definitely going to go under this person. Or if this person signs Friday when they get paid, they're super strong. They're going on my top line, So have that in your mind. So it's already a done deal. And again, if you need any advice, you need help, making these decisions, just reach out to me, call me. If you guys only knew how many phone conversations that I had with Claire over some of you who signed. And, I would call her and say, okay, I have this person signing. I think that they're going to be this, and where should I put them? And what I was saying, sorry, real quick. Whenever I was talking about the Emerald chart, and I was talking about how you build 2 rubies for Emerald, let's say both of these people are executive, but you've got to get them both to Ruby. As you're signing people, look at who's going to get along better with who. If they both need equal amount of spots and you're going to pretty much build both of them to Ruby, each person you sign, think of where it makes more sense to put them. I always try to put people with each other that are going to get along really well. So definitely, consider that and pay attention to that too. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, what I was explaining before, when you go Diamond, you want to have some really good leaders that you can trust. You want to have people that, whether they're an executive, whether they're a Ruby, whether they're an Emerald, you want to have people that you can trust and that will help lead, and that will lead well and lead with pride. And maybe it's even just a distributor. Maybe it's a brand new distributor that's joined you and is fighting for executive, fighting for Ruby, and has big dreams and big goals. You want people that you can trust. And so you want to, the people that you feel like are going to take this business very seriously, they need to be as far up on your chart as they possibly can. Okay? And then that way you can place people under them who maybe aren't as serious, that they can help lead. And between the 2 of you's leadership, those people will become more serious. I've had people that I've placed under a really strong leader on my chart. And between that person, checking in on them and motivating them and training them and me training them, all of a sudden they've become really strong out of nowhere. They've gone from not really caring too much about the business to all of a sudden caring and having really big goals. And so that happens by good decisions, by putting people in good places where it's going to make sense. So think of people's best interest. Think of your business's best interest as a whole. You've got to think of it like a smooth running machine. If you want that machine to run smoothly and to always be healthy, you have to make sure all the components are in the right place. So I hope that makes sense. Please reach out to me with any and all questions you have, and I'm happy to help you guys as always. And yeah, I can't wait to see all my new diamonds. $10,000 bonus. Here you guys come. And one more quick thing, you guys, just because I realized, some of our new people may not even know this. Every distributor you sign and every customer you sign, you have 24 hours to decide where to move them. So as far as distributors go, that comes into play exactly what we were just talking about this entire video about charting. So you have 24 hours to decide where on your chart they need to go. And what you'll do is you'll go to Reports, Personally Enrolled Team, and then you'll click the drop down arrow beside that distributor and you will type the ID number in of the distributor on your team that you're moving them under. You can move them as far in your downline as you want. You can move them under one of your personally enrolled distributors or under just a distributor that I placed under you or your other upline if there's an upline between me and you. If there's a distributor that your upline placed under you. It can be under any distributor in your downline, personally enrolled or not. So you have 24 hours to move that distributor. And then real quick, I have a whole complete other video about this, but I'm just going to briefly say something real quick about this. When you're signing customers, after your first 4 customers, if you have any distributors on your team, you do not need to be keeping any more customers. You need to be placing those customers under your team so you can promote the fastest. I don't keep any customers. The only time I keep customers is if there's a special promotion going on and Mark tells us to. Then if he says keep 4 customers, like for instance in November, he told us to keep 4 customers and we would get Christmas cash, which was $100. I kept 4 customers. I moved 4 under Zach, so Zach would get it. And then all of the other, I signed 29 in November. All of the other 21 customers, they went under someone else. They went under my downline. I helped my team get Christmas cash and put volume where I needed to promote and all that good stuff. But basically, if you're going for Ruby, any customers you're signing right now need to go on these bottom people right here because these people need to be at 400. You can write in pencil. Remember I told you have your charts printed off and have all the names written in pencil. Have the names of the people who are there written in and then of the people that you hope are going to sign. If you're fully charted, then great. All the names are written in. Let's say this person doesn't need to be at 400 because they will be at 400 when these people are. So you're not going to place any customers under this person. You're going to place customers under these 2 and these 2 until they're at 400. So you want to get each box done the fastest. If this person over here is an LC signing rockstar, don't worry about them. Go to them last. If these 2 people down here are a little slower, they're bringing in LCs pretty slow, these are where you're going to want to place them. You're going to want to get each of them to 400. Don't spread it out. Do one at a time. So if this person needs 260 more, write 260 in pencil above. And if this person needs 320 more, that's a lot, write 320 over that. Hammer out the 261 first and zero out that person. Once you've gotten them to 0, erase that and then start on this person. So I hope that makes sense. But basically, you want to be moving all your customers. And same thing, you go to Reports, Personally Enrolled Team, you hit the drop down arrow by the customer's name, and then you type the ID number in of the distributor that you're moving them under. So it's very easy, but yeah, you definitely want to move them under your team. And so even if you're just going executive, let's say you're charted executive, you have your spouse and you have one other team member. Get your spouse to 400 first. Obviously, you're going to get double paycheck on that. But then after your spouse is at 400, if you're still signing people and the month's not over, see how close that person is. If that person needs about 100 more to be at 400, put LCs under them, get them to 400, and then you're going to promote to executive. Executive unlocks a 3rd level of pay. That's awesome. You want that. And then, of course, you'll start working on trying to go Ruby after that, and you'll, move volume under there where it's needed. But anyways, I just want to hit on that really quick because it just dawned on me that some of the new people probably didn't even know what I was talking about. So anyways, let me know if you guys have any questions about that as well, and I will talk to y'all later. Love you guys.